Okay, I didn't think we handled the first Pac-12 road trip very well. Came out flat in the first half. Didn't play well at all in the first half. Run game, run defense was poor. The back did exactly to us this year what he did last year, which we knew going in if that happened, then our chances weren't real good. But when you look at everything that happened, slow start, losing our starting quarterback, and this and that, we still at the end had a chance to win, and we didn't take advantage. We had, I think it was 28-21, and we got the ball consecutively, I think at their 27 and 23 yard line, and came away with 3 points total. And so had chances and didn't capitalize. But, got to move on. Got USC coming up this week and another road trip. And so we got to get ourselves picked back up and ready to play. So questions?
All right, Coach. Moving forward, Hans Olsen, ESPN 700.
All right.
Moving forward.
That was very official. Yeah.
Obviously, Travis Wilson, hand issues. I don't want an injury report, but moving forward, if he's there, then he's there. If not, what will you do with the quarterback situation?
Well, Schulz came in and did a good job for us on Saturday night. If we're at a point where we know Travis is not available, we'll have Schulz and Connor Manning take all the reps this week in practice. And if Connor outplays him, then he would be coming out of a redshirt year and being the guy. But that's worst case scenario. I think best case scenario is Travis will be able to go, and we'll be business as usual.
Kyle, you had another really tough night on third down conversions.
Mm-hmm.
Are you getting to the point where you're really seeing and really missing guys like Kenneth Scott, your two tight ends, in trying to convert some of those third and longs?
Yeah, something's wrong, and you're exactly right. And we're bad on third down on both sides of the ball. It's not just offensively; it's stopping third down defensively. We're near the bottom of the league in both. On both sides of the ball with the third downs, and our two biggest nemesis right now, is that a word? Nemesis. Anyways, third down and turnover margin. We've turned the ball over too much. We haven't taken it away enough, and we're not doing good enough on third down. So those are the two areas that are really critical for us right now.
Coach, you mentioned you didn't handle the first Pac-12 road trip well. Is that something leading up to the game, or was that just in the road?
Great question. I talked at length with Coach Erickson, who's been coaching for a long time, and he said that he's experienced the same thing many times in his career. Doesn't really have an explanation for it. It reminded me exactly of Arizona State last year and Cal Berkeley the year before. Exactly. Same feeling in the locker room, same lack of passion, lack of energy. And why is the million-dollar question. We didn't prepare any differently. There was no signs of it coming, and so we've got to get it fixed, obviously, or else it's going to be something that is a negative force again. So we can't let that happen going forward.
Coach, if you do end up with either Schulz or Manning at quarterback, does that change your game plan offensively at all, with Travis being a little bit more of a running quarterback?
Well, a little bit. Yeah, we got to take advantage of the guy who's pulling the trigger, and Schulz obviously has the big arm, and Connor's a thrower as well. And so if that is the case, then yeah, that will alter the game plan, not radically, but somewhat.
When ideally will you make a decision if Travis can go or not?
Well, ideally tomorrow. We'll see. If we can get him at practice tomorrow, we'll have a good feeling of or a good idea of where he stands. But we'll see. It's a medical staff decision, and obviously Travis as well.
Is that something that could come down to a game time thing?
It could, but we hope not. The quarterback position, we'd rather have that settled going in, and giving the reps to the right guys, the guys that are going to be available to play. And so we've got to handle that a little differently than another position.
Coach, would you only pull Manning out of a redshirt year if Travis were going to be out for more than one game?
Right. Yeah. If it was an extended thing, which we don't feel it's going to be, we wouldn't do it for one game. That's a great point. And I didn't mean to paint that picture, but if Travis was not available for just this game, then Schulz would be our guy. If it's beyond that, and I'm assuming that was the scenario I was covering, but we would not make that move with Connor with only 5 games left in the regular season.
And then you talk about USC. How different are they since the firing of Lane Kiffin? And to talk about a challenge. Imagine anytime you go to the Coliseum, it's a challenge.
Well, they're very similar, and defensively especially, I mean, that didn't impact the defense at all, and so they're playing good defense. In fact, they're number one in the Pac-12 in total defense right now, playing exceptionally well on that side of the ball. Offensively, just a few minor tweaks. Otherwise, it's very similar. You can't wholesale change in the middle of the season, and so what you're seeing the last couple weeks is very similar to what you saw the first 3 or 4 weeks.
USC's top running back from last year, Silas Red, has been banged up, but he's coming back healthy and been playing the last couple weeks. With him back, do you expect USC to have more of a ground game? And are you concerned with, given how the run defense performed against Arizona?
Well, they've always been a run-first team. Well, not always, but most years they're a run-first team, and Red is a tremendous back. We've played pretty good run defense up until last week. Last week was obviously a horrific run defense, but prior to that we've been pretty solid, and so I expect them to try to establish a run game, just like they always do, and we've got to do a good job on defense trying to negate that.
Coach, for 3 straight weeks, you've given up an early touchdown drive by the opponent and then kind of a late one also, and been pretty solid in the middle. Any explanation for that?
Yeah, good observation. That's exactly what I was thinking about this morning. I think it's the opening drive in the last 3 weeks, if I'm correct. And so we've got to find a way to get out of that first drive, and then, as you mentioned, the last couple of weeks we've given up one at the very end, and so that's something that got to play better in those situations.
Can you give us an idea how Adam Schulz graded out once he came in?
Yeah, he was pretty good. He was his QB rating, which is kind of the new barometer, was I think in the mid-60s, which isn't bad. And then as far as our own grade, it was, as I remember, it was high 80 percentile, I think is where he graded out at. I'd have to go back and look to be sure, but that's about where I believe it was.
Coach, to watch when Andy Phillips missed his field goals, he seemed absolutely shocked. I wonder what the reaction was for you guys, for somebody who's been automatic. And since then, have you or maybe Coach Hill sat down and talked with him, or do you just leave him alone?
Well, Coach Hill's talked to him, and Andy's a tough kid. It's unfortunate we missed those 2 kicks, but if you would have told me at the beginning of the year he's going to make 12 of his first 14 kicks, I think we all would have taken that, and so that's where he is right now. He's 12 of 14. Obviously, those kicks were big. Had we made those kicks, what would have been 30 to 28, I think it would have been at the end there, or towards the end, but that's just, woulda, shoulda, coulda, and so we're pleased with what Andy's done so far this year, and my guess is he'll get back on track this week.
Coach, what's going on with the offensive line that has them so hot and cold in pass pro?
Another good question. We had some breakdowns in pass protection. One time it was a miscommunication. We checked the protection at the line, didn't get communicated all the way to the left tackle, gave up a sack in a situation there. We were, in fact, both tackles last week, Saturday night, were not as stout as they have been most weeks. We gave up some things on the edge. The inside 3, however, played very well, the guards in the center, and so we'd like to get them all playing well at the same time. That's the objective.
And that inside 3 has been hot for you all year long. You haven't
Very
had
solid.
problems there?
Yeah, very solid all year long. Salt and Tofiano at guards, and then Vince Jones at center. Very consistent.
I felt like this game in particular really missed Jake Murphy at times. That target that drew some attention.
Yeah.
Drez Anderson not hit as often as maybe you would like, or anybody would have liked. Can you talk to us about the tight end position and what you're maybe looking to do at that position at this point?
Yeah, well, that certainly has taken a big dimension away from our offense, and we are feeling the effects of that. But you got to move forward, and Carl Williams has been our answer so far with a lot more 2-back stuff. Ciale and Greg Reese, I think we played about 8 or 10 snaps with a tight end on Saturday night. But going forward, we got to take a look at maybe implementing them more, giving us a little more diversity on offense, because that's something that losing Jake and Wesley has really altered our plans.
Questions?
Coach, outside of the Weber State game, it seems like every win and every loss have been so emotional.
You're right.
How
You're right.
How are you? Is the team staying even? How are you guys handling this?
Well, we were handling it well up until Saturday night. Like I said, I thought we came out for the first time all season long without that fire that we've had every single game up to that point. And it has been an emotional year, ups and downs. And we've been a mentally tough team and a very resilient team. But the one thing we did do is we bounced back in the second half and played with that fire and fought our way back into it. In fact, third quarter, we go from 20-7 at halftime to 21-20 in a pretty big hurry. And so we did a nice job of coming back after a down first half. But you're right, it's been a lot of emotion this season, but just got to be able to handle that.
Coach, as far as your defense getting off the field on third down, what's the single biggest thing that needs to change on that to make that better?
Well, there hasn't been a single thing you can pinpoint. It's been some run plays, some throw plays. I mean, hasn't been a particular coverage. I don't think there's any one common denominator. We just got to find a way to make that play on third down, and we haven't been able to do that with enough regularity this year.
Coach, USC has several injuries as well. What are your thoughts on maybe coming out with official injury reports? There's kind of a cat and mouse game. Do you prefer that? What are your
Yeah, I would prefer the NC2A to have a standardized way of handling injuries, but I don't know if that's going to happen. It's not. The NC2A is a much larger and Division I larger body than the NFL has it, but they're a little more compact and able to control things a little bit better and standardize things. But I think that it would be nice if they did do that and everyone would adhere to the same format and the same way of announcements or releases of the injury report. But until then, we'll just continue to not have one.
Along those lines, I guess Marquise Lee is a little banged up, but if he can go, I mean, he's still considered the best receiver in the country. How do you deal with a guy like that?
Yeah, he's tremendous, and he's a guy that you better be aware of where he is, and if you have double coverage built into your package like we do most weeks, he's going to be the focal point of that. And he did not play the second half last week, but I think maybe that was more for precautionary reasons. Apparently he's feeling pretty good, so we're expecting to see him, and if not, then we'll adjust. But our plan going forward is we expect him to play.
Embarrass Trevor because he's right there, but can you just talk about his play recently and just his nose for the ball?
Yeah, he's an instinctive player. He's one of our big play guys on defense, if not our biggest play guy on defense, and we rely on him to be a disruptor and make those big plays. Made a big play on fourth down and goal early in the game, sacked the quarterback for to stop that drive. And so he's a guy that we rely on week in and week out to step up and make big plays for us, and he's done that.
Coach, you talked earlier about how important it was to make it through a season with one quarterback. Is it just reaching the point the game's gotten so physical that teams just can't even expect that anymore?
I don't think so. I think it's still doable, very doable, and hopefully we'll get Travis back and he'll only have missed that 2 quarters plus a little bit of time in the second quarter, but time will tell. But I think if you look at the Pac-12, which is all I'm going on right now, most teams have been able to keep their quarterback healthy to this point in the season.
Coach, there used to be, at least from a fan perspective, sort of a mystique about USC and their program and their stadium. It seems like a lot of that is gone, and especially for you guys on your team and your program. How important is it that they are able now to go in there and say, hey, it's just the next team. It's not, it's USC.
Well, I think there's still a certain aura about just the name. Southern Cal Trojans. I mean, that's still a name brand and one of the most storied programs in the country. But I don't think that's bothered us the last 2 times we've played them. We've matched up pretty good and played them very competitively and came up just short in both games. But hopefully this year we'll go down there with the right attitude and be able to compete again. So we'll see what happens. Thanks.